And
Yes.
you know, I think right now everybody knows about breath work. Everybody
Mm,
is aware of. Either they use it like just to control anxiety, or if they use it to improve lung volume, to raise immune system, to strengthen the immune system. I mean, this knowledge is out there. And
mm,
I think that's great for us, to because this is where you can build on. This is when people really can go on a journey when they understand the physical thing and then also know how they can use it for any mental related stuff. And then it opens up a spiritual journey. And I think that's the most powerful thing when you understand that everything is connected with frequency and vibration, the entire universe. And I think that's the consciousness that we actually want to spread.
Welcome to the Soulful Sound podcast, where you will find conscious, inspiring content to support your healing and transformation. Now, before we jump into today's episode, I want to extend a heartfelt invitation for you to be part of our community, where more insightful conversations await to guide you to heal, grow, and thrive. Simply click the subscribe button. It means the world to me, and your engagement is a big part of us reaching the hearts of other beautiful souls like you. Thank you so much for joining, sending you love, healing, and sound wherever you are. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the latest episode on the Soulful Sound podcast. I am joined by the wonderful Sigmar Berg, the founder of Love Tuner, who is a visionary entrepreneur who combines ancient sound healing wisdom with modern breathwork techniques to help people achieve mental wellness through his 528 Hertz frequency of love meditation tool that's transforming corporate wellness programs, schools, and individual mindfulness practices worldwide. Yes. Welcome in, Sigmar. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Simon, thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm looking much forward to as we are
Yes.
connected in sound healing. So I hope we can transport our knowledge to your listeners.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, you are the first or second sound healer that I've had on my show. And it's so I'm really excited to kind of delve into a lot of the work that you're doing. So I love to ask my guests at the start just a little bit about you, your personal story, and what maybe whatever kind of framework you want to bring to it that brought you to the work you're doing today.
Yeah. So like when I got introduced to the 528 hertz frequency, it was actually in a guided breathwork meditation. And this was actually the beginning of my, if you want to call it, frequency journey,
Mm,
because till this moment, I was not really aware of it. I did not know how many frequency exist out there. I did not know anything about the power of the 528 hertz frequency. The only thing what I knew is that John Lennon composed Imagine in 520 hertz.
mm,
So this was something where I said like, okay, this guy was onto something. And I mean, it's still the most important and most prominent love and peace song for over 50 years. So there's a meaning behind it. And this absolutely sparked my curiosity. But I would say the frequency touched my heart, and this was literally where I went on this journey. And then a lot of things happen when you start working with frequency, with vibration, when you see the impact in humans, but also on your own journey. And I mean, I think you witnessed this as well as a sound healer facilitating these sounds. It also does something to the person that does it, obviously. And
mm,
and I think this was the key for me, to go into this journey because there was not much knowledge out there when we started. This is now 10 years ago, over 10 years ago. And breathwork was already coming kind of. I have a background. I was like kind of a professional swimmer when I was in high school. So we did a lot with breaths and breathwork and whatnot, even if it was not meant to be consciously spiritual. It was just like a physical thing what we did. But the combination of the love tuner, like combining the breaths with the sound, this
mm.
was actually that's what I saw right away that it can be powerful and help people.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I mean, I can relate to the breath work because my background as a musician and vocalist has been, let's get the voice ready, just bringing the breath in. And initially for me as well, it was technical, like let's just understand the mechanics of the body. But understanding how that beautiful combination of breath and sound traveling on breath, how beautifully powerful that is in our lives. I mean, there's so much research around that now. So I relate to the understanding the breath before necessarily coming into that spiritual practice of it.
Yeah. And
Yes.
you know, I think right now everybody knows about breath work. Everybody
Mm.
is aware of. Either they use it like just to control anxiety, or if they use it to improve lung volume, to raise immune system, to strengthen the immune system. I mean, this knowledge is out there, and I think that's great for us, you know, to because this is where you can build on. This is when people really can go on a journey, when they understand the physical thing and then also know how they can use it for any mental related stuff. And then it opens up a spiritual journey. And I think that's the most powerful thing, when you understand that everything is connected with frequency and vibration, the entire universe. And I think that's the consciousness that we actually want to spread.
Yeah. Yeah. Beautiful. And what kind of studies or experiments did you do with the Love Tuner? And we'll talk about that design and how you came about that as well. But we, as you said, the science is out there. It's very strong on understanding frequency and how it impacts our vibration, our cells, our energy, and so on. What are some of the things that you did in terms of you testing out your own product, let's say, and what are some of the things that came up in that process?
Yeah, so I mean, we started actually working with schools very early, and this was for me personally. It's a mission that is strong to me. So I believe in the next generation. I believe what Dalai Lama says. I believe that every 8-year old that will meditate now, we will have no war in the future. I'm a big believer of what Dalai Lama says. And this is why we went into schools at the beginning, and we wanted to test it out. And the first thing was also, where do you really get a feedback? Because from adults, we all have layers, you know, people are friends or whatnot. People don't want to hurt your feelings. You don't get a real feedback. But from children, especially what we did between 8 and 10 years old, they either like it or they don't. And in our case, they really liked it. We saw a tremendous success. We eliminated bullying within 1 semester in those schools. It was building better communities in the classroom. The kids had a feeling of community, and their focus went up and their grades went up. So this was amazing. And then later on, like about, I would say a year into it, we started working with bioresonance and biofeedback machines. And we had controlled groups of 20 people meditating, 20 people using the love tuner. The only difference was the people that have been meditating for many years, very proficient in meditation. And the other group had no clue about any spiritual hygiene, never meditated, and used the love tuner for the first time. And we then took a bioresonance feedback testing from the brain waves, and the results have been identically from the 20 people meditating and the people using the love tuner. The only difference was that the group that tuned was only 6 minutes compared to the transcendental meditation. It was 20 minutes. So it's not that I want to say cut your meditation shorter, because this is the last thing I want to actually say to people, because it's so important to stay with your spirituality, and to have, like, you know, this the spiritual hygiene of maintaining and your mental wellness yourself. But what I saw is that it's a really quick helper. And this was the most important thing for us. So it's something, it's so simple. You wear it around your neck. I'm wearing one here right now. And whenever something comes up, you know, you walk away from a group, you do like a quick cycle of tuning, inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth, and it resets your entire nervous system. Because what you basically do is you do a conscious breathing break, you disconnect your parasympathicus from the sympathetic nervous system. You get out of the fight and flight mode, and you just make better, calmer decisions. And the second level is you arrive in the here and now, and spiritually through the 528 Hertz, you're inviting love in your life. And this is like this unconditional love that we know is one of the highest frequencies that we can find in the universe. So it's a very profound physical and spiritual exercise.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that we need to have more things that are accessible. So it's not, like you said, those who have strong spiritual practices already, here's something that you can use. Now, I would probably fall in that category in that I've been meditating from as young as 6. I'm in sound like you, so I'm primed. Yeah. So my experience using it for the first time only this week was actually very profound, which was simply, following the instructions. I think I did six breaths, I think it was. And it actually, I was in trance state immediately. It was very, very efficient for me, to the point that I thought, what was I thinking before I started, bringing sound to this? And so that was really beautiful. So I think it's awesome that people listening who's like, well, I don't know anything about these things. I'm not, I don't know frequency. I don't have a big spiritual practice yet, but I'm curious. I think that's a beautiful, accessible way of just jumping into something really profound.
Yeah, and like when we started with Love Tuna, it was like, I mean, obviously, a lot of people that have been already on their spiritual journey that had a practice. Either it was like breathing exercises to yoga, meditation, whatnot. But I always was thinking about, what is the normal guy that sits on the 405? It's a very busy highway here in Los Angeles, and you have all this stress coming towards you, and you have not those the time or not the interest to do all those exercises that would help you improve your quality of life. But this is a small gadget that you can use immediately. And I was always, my vision was at the very beginning, what is if somebody is sitting in traffic on the way home and all the stress of the day is lingering on, and you are in traffic jam, and then you walk into your home, you arrive with a certain frequency. Is it frustration? Is it anger? Whatever it is, or you're just exhausted. But if you would stop and tune for 3 minutes, I think and I know actually, your frequency goes up, you relieve stress, and everything that comes after is just more pleasurable than anything else. And I think this is what we should do, is like not to have like this kind of like intellectual arrogance, like saying, oh, I did all this, I went to this retreats and I learned this and I was reading this books and I was at that seminar. No, it's not, because spirituality is for everyone. And if you open it, it can change your life, and it will change your life to a better. And this is why I like the simplicity of the Love Tuner, because it's so accessible for everyone. And this was my first thought when we came out. We said, listen, I have so many friends that do yoga. They probably further on their journey than I am. They know more about breathwork than I do. But this product is so simple that it gives you a head start, and it works instantly. So it's not like, you don't prepare a sound bath, you don't set up your bowls, you don't sit down 20 minutes and do an exercise. You have it around your neck. You can do it even in your car. You can do it in a meeting. You can do it wherever you are, where anxiety, stress, or if you just feel a little bit detached from life, what we often have, like we carry on in the day, and at one point we go like, is this really me doing this? Is this really my life? I'm really here. And we come in this routine that often causes frustration. And if you just go back and tune, what it basically does is it takes you out of your mind and makes right away this heart connection. So you tune, you get out of your mind, out of your head, into your heart. And this is where life actually really happens, where you have the experiences that we want to have. These are the connections that we want to have in our family. These are the connections we want to have in our community, to have this communication. And if it's only as a feeling on a heart level, because I think this is where humanity is connected. Our hearts are curious. We always want to connect. And the intellect is often the one that separates us.
Yeah, that is beautiful. And I love that you went to the heart, that beautiful heart space, because I do, my understanding and belief now is that we are, and we're seeing this more and more in the world, we are heading into a more heart-centered place. And some people struggle with that. And it's understandable, as you said, when the intellect and the head is taking over and the mind is taking over, we sometimes forget to connect in deeply. And I think that, again, even from that perspective, it's saying it, in a few moments you can connect really deeply with your best ally, with that high frequency that will serve you in all areas of your life, which I think is really beautiful. I'm just curious about your if you've had anyone who's had any experiences, like, for example, I mentioned earlier that I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. I went into this trance for a moment. And then because I can pull myself back into this space and ground, I'm curious about the kind of research, or rather findings, that people have had around those kind of trance or transcendental states that come from using this. And is it the one time, or is it over time? What kind of things have come up so far?
So, I mean, especially, I mean, you are tuned in anyway because of your job, what you're doing with sound healing already. I think it's the same experience for everyone. The more finer you tuned, the stronger you will feel it. But it was very funny because like many years ago, so I'm in California, weed got legalized here, and we had so many comments about people who smoke weed because everybody said, "Oh, I used to love to and I felt like I'm high."
Mhm.
And it really does this because what it does is like, you do this conscious breathing break, and then this frequency takes you out. Like this is like, I mean, it's a divine frequency, connects you to the universe. Every time you tap into this frequency, you open up the universe within yourself, and this gives you this feeling of being high. And what you are describing is what we heard from many, many people. Some people are overwhelmed, they don't even know what it is. They go, "Oh, what's that?"
Mhm.
And yeah, but the feeling of high is yeah, you felt
Yes.
it correctly.
Yes, and that's how I describe it, a sonic high, really. It really is. It's so
Sonic,
beautiful.
that's beautiful, yeah. Yeah.
Yes, that's awesome. Now, one of the things that I love about sound, and as you said, this is something you can just, use in anywhere you are. This is why I'm so connected to the voice. It's the same. You can be in the car, you can be on the train, you can do whatever and bring the voice, bring the sound. So I love the accessibility of it. And I'm just curious now about your personal journey, you using it, because obviously you were called to this through, as you mentioned, understanding how Imagine the song impacted you, and then understanding more about frequency later on. So in your own practice, how has it evolved for you, your own either personal or spiritual practice?
So for me, it was interesting because I started it, I felt the power right away, but what I did not recognize is how much it really changed me.
Mm.
So it was back then we have been working with Deepak Chopra. This was like about a year after we started, and I had pretty much my normal life still, not even knowing where I tapped into. Fast forward 3 years later, I never drank one sip of alcohol, and not because I had an issue with alcohol, but it was just not in my resonance anymore. And so I think everything that is like lower frequency, like basically leaves you. And this is the beauty of it. And this is not like, it's not that I don't like alcohol from the taste, but it's just like it's not a frequency that I want to connect to. And even when I go to events and you cheers like one sip, I love the taste of it. But if you are fine-tuned, it's
Mhm.
nothing where you really in resonance anymore. So, and this is what happened on my personal journey. So small things changed like radically. And then I at one point I also gave in and just trusted this frequency. This is the same thing on a business side. Like at one point, and I did very normal businesses before I started this. At one point, I just went like the frequency will guide us and it will bring what needs to be, and it will drop what does not have any relevance anymore. I think, and this was on my personal journey, and I write about this in my book. I wrote a book, it's called One Journey, the Love Tuner book. And it was actually supposed to to give more knowledge to people about frequency in general, the relation to the spiritual laws and whatnot, where the frequency is coming from, who was using it, why it got changed, and all this stuff is in this book, and a little bit about my own journey. And I think this is when I listen to a lot of my friends that tell me what their journey is, it's very similar. It's basically you're raising your frequency the more you do it, you're recalibrating your body, and it's not only that you have like a strong impact that you go, oh wow, it's not a feeling like you're taking whatever people are doing right now, the quick fix like ayahuasca and whatnot. It's not this kind of thing. It's a very subtle thing, but you also need to see that the subtle stuff that we did wrong in our life for a long, long time didn't happen overnight either. You know what I mean? So, and this is why I always tell people, listen, if you're recalibrating your being, basically, it takes a while. So don't have too big of expectations, but believe me one thing, it's happening, you know, and the only thing you can do to stop this process or slow down this process is by not doing it. But as soon as you're in there, as soon as you do it regular, and if you open up your heart, it will change your life, and it will give you for sure, you know, it will not handle the problems in life for you, but it will give you an eye perspective, what is just like elevated. You know, you come from a bird's perspective, you see things differently, and you react differently to it.
Yeah, that is beautiful. I often like to say that just keep putting one sound in front of the other.
Exactly.
And I just love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We're so aligned here, huh? Or in resonance. It's beautiful. Oh, yes. Okay. So I love, I don't know if I should call it a slogan, but I love your one world, one love, one tone. I love that. That is just stunning, and it really resonates with me. And I know that, as you said in your on your website, that I'm just going to pull this out as well, that this is not just a product, it is a mission. And you're very community based. You're very strong with taking this out into communities. So what I'd love to know more about is the mission behind this and how you're expanding that right now through schools you mentioned, and what are some of the other ways that you are really using this amazing tool?
Yeah, so right now, like as you also said, it's more than a product. So the Love Tuner started as a love and peace mission, and it was always thought about to bring people together in a more loving togetherness. And when you see separation, it's the biggest hurdle we have, you know, and a lot of separation is made up, and you can put people back together from all parts of the world if you wipe what they have been layered in and programmed. We all come along great. So it's not a human problem, you know, it's a made up problem. And so this is like where I see this frequency can overcome it. And when I understood it, and when I have seen the reaction of children, when I have seen the reaction of handicapped people, when I have seen, because this is what we do in our foundation work, we also work with veterans. When you see really harmed human beings, and they're tough as nails, and they're handicapped through whatever injuries in war, and then suddenly they open up their hearts and they start crying and relieving some pains, and tears are coming out. This is when I thought, like, wow, this is so powerful, you know, and this is where we can really heal. And for me, it's like, besides the slogan, this one world, one love, one tone, there was always one thing what I promoted, and this was the Love Tuner. You can become your own guru. And this is the most important thing for me. Yes, we are very community driven. We are out, we are promoting where we can, you know, we are sharing the love. But for us is that people understand that they are getting self-empowered. And everybody is as important as anybody else. You know, I might be the founder of this thing, but it doesn't matter. Everybody who tunes elevates, you know, and helps the collective consciousness, you know, to raise. And this is the core part of this mission, you know, everybody that tunes into this frequency, that connects into this field of love with the intention of love, you know, This is what we need. And I mean, this sounds like super hippie-esque right now, but love is all we need, you know, and this is really what it is. And love can overcome everything. And if we have the love tune as a reminder, regardless of your spiritual routine that you have or whatever you do, if this is an anchor that you do every day and you understand that many, many other people are connecting into this frequency right now, right here, then you understand that all is one and one is all, you know, and this is what I want to bring out into the world, you know, and this has nothing to do with my personality. It doesn't matter if I'm here or not. It's this frequency, and this is something where we can connect into it. And when we understand where this frequency is coming from, that it's a cosmic frequency, that it occurs in every living matter. It occurs in the humming of the bees, in the chlorophyll of the plants. This is why the plants are green, because 528 hertz on the light spectrum is green, is the color green. And when we understand all this, you know, and then we go like, well, 600 after Christ, the Gregorian choirs have been chanting on this high-pitched C on 528 hertz, what was back then the regular C note. Then we go like, wait a minute, why did this frequency get changed, and who would change it, you know, and what's the purpose of it? So, and it's very simple. Over history, the church was the first one. Adolf Hitler did it before the Second World War. The Rockefeller Foundation did it institutionally for the entire world. So they changed the A note from 444 down to 440. And this is when the C note 528 disappeared. So knowing that this frequency is so powerful, we should think about to bring it back, you know, to go like, hey, listen, why are we not going back into this harmony? That's good for humans. And, you know, nowadays with social media, you reach so many people. And I was driving the other day on a highway, and I have a license plate that said 528 hertz. And a younger man literally stopped me and pulled me over and said, hey, I saw your license plate, and I wasn't sure. I thought like maybe I was driving too fast, and he was annoyed by it, whatever. And then he started like, hey, I'm composing 528 hertz music. And so there's a lot of stuff out there. What is beautiful, you know, and when you see this longing of our hearts where we really want to gravitate to, then we just also need to stop at one point, like thinking too much. Like, how do I look like with this weird tuna in my mouth? What do people think about me? It's like, no, forget all this. It doesn't matter, you know. Do it for yourself, raise yourself, and then you will see you will lift up a lot of other people. You know, it's like one enlightened person pulls way more souls out there than the other way around. And I think if we go out this, that we are all gurus, our own gurus, you know, and we can shine our light as much as we want, then I think this is already half the journey that you have to do, you know?
Yes, that's it. And you know, it's beautiful in that there are a lot of people, and I'm kind of saying this to anyone listening who, like you said, it's like, oh, well, we hear about love and the heart and all of these things all the time. And it's just so beautiful when there's so much more it's coming to light. I mean, we're not unfamiliar with these practices anymore, but so much more coming to light on the science and how this impacts us physically. And a lot of the time I actually work with lots of different solfeggio frequencies in my compositions, because I understand too how powerful they are before even putting my voice on it, which is then another channeled and intentional practice. But in terms of people listening and thinking, okay, so love, you know, everything is love, love is all there is, and all that beautiful stuff that I absolutely agree with. I want to talk about you, and how does love and heart show up for you in your life?
I mean, listen, there's the love that we have for other human beings, and this is beautiful. But I think when you really tap into this unconditional love, you know, when you go to the next level and you come from this part, I think this is when life gets really interesting. You know, when you love other people, but the universal love is the one that really holds you. You know, when you build this divine connection and you understand that you're never alone, because this is the most important thing when you have a divine connection, and that you know that you are protected, that you are on your soul journey, that you understand that you cannot fall deeper than into God's hands. And all these things, I think that makes it whole, you know. And I cannot say anything more, because like if I would tell you, yes, it's great to use the love tuner with the one you love and you connect and all this stuff, that's beautiful. And I would everybody, for me personally, that's beautiful, but I always see it on a bigger picture, because this is why Love Tuner became my mission. But for users, I would also really recommend to tune together with the one you love, because it's similar to oming together. So when you use the love tuner together and you see, first of all, when you tune, the frequency goes out about 8 feet out of your body, is about 2.5 meters. So when you tune with the one you love, you connect into the sound carpet of the frequency of love. And it transports way more information than if you would talk for an hour. And this goes in the positive way, so that you can strengthen your bond, but it also helps in a negative way to the point where you can overcome arguments, because it's beyond the blah, blah, blah. And it's like if you have an argument with someone and you really stop and hold your breath and you go like, hey, let's tune together. Believe me, it's like I experience this myself. Sometimes I say, oh, but wait a minute, I want to say this first, because I know exactly after tuning, it's not so relevant anymore. And I think that's a beautiful thing to do, to on one hand bond, and to the other hand also overcome nonsense arguments, because this is what we just do, because like basically two people expressing a frustration about something what is maybe not even so important.
Yeah.
And this is why I tell people, tune together to bond, tune together to overcome obstacles, and also tune together by yourself to find what is really in resonance by yourself, with yourself. And when you use this tuning for a long time, you will also feel right away what is in dissonance with myself, is in resonance. And I think that's the most important thing. So I do this myself. I do it even subconsciously. Like it's so integrated in my being. There's a situation what I'm facing, you tune towards it, and sometimes you get an answer right away. Sometimes it trickles in a couple of hours later or some days later, and then you go, oh wow, that's exactly what it means. That exactly the frequency. Is this in resonance? No. Is it in dissonance? Yeah, most likely. Or it's just perfect. And this is also, we also need to understand to a certain degree, I mean, perfection is not the aim of life, but our lives are pretty perfect. You know what I mean? It's like we have a good life. It's with all the trauma in the world going on, and I think we are still so much better off than hundreds and hundreds of years ago. So we are like, we actually blessed where we stay right now. The only thing is that we just lost a little bit God on this journey into, like we have beautiful lives, but we sometimes really lack this divine connection.
Yes, and I think it's really important to kind of really encourage and have the open invitation to self-inquiry and really looking within. I think that for me, sound is very much that practice is that going within myself, and to continue with what might sound a bit cliche, we are love, we are that vibration. So in essence, tuning into ourselves, into our beautiful frequency. And I love that you spoke about the impact that it can have doing it with other people. So my experience, I used it myself, and I've got well, one isn't a teenager anymore, but two of my sons are with me still at home. And the youngest, who's 18, I was outside and I was using it, and he could feel that. He was just sitting out apart from me and aside from me in the garden, and he could feel the resonance of it. And so, I mean, I'm surely going to have to get him one. But now there is that entrainment that's happening when we step into that vibration and resonance. And I think a lot of people don't realize the ripple effect that these things can have, not just in the moment, but as you said, when you are tuned and you walk as a tuned instrument, how that impacts the people around you as well.
Yes, absolutely. No, you have totally a point. So like it's I mean, you will experience this with animals, with other humans, like because we are vibrating, the sound goes out of your body and people feel it. And this is that's when I talk about feeling vibrations, and understanding this is also it's not only the vibration of the love tuner, it's the vibration about the food you eat, the stuff you consume, like and if we are fine-tuned, when we enter a room or we go into a building and we have a weird vibe, then we know already, hey, that's not in a good resonance with us. This is dissonance for us. So the more you get fine-tuned, you see it all the way around. You will get more conscious about the food you eat, because that's all frequency and vibration. I mean, the stuff you drink, like for example, I tune my water, not all the time, but if I have time, I use my tuner, I show it to you, and I just tune this water. And what it really does is it restructures the water.
Yeah.
So within 30 seconds of exposing water to this frequency, you can see this, it's on our homepage actually, you can see this under the microscope what it's doing. It restructures to a perfect hexagonal crystal shape. So when you drink this water, you're actually drinking reclustered, structured water. And it's way easier to be absorbed in our cell system. And this is actually where our knowledge when we started with Love Tuner came from. It came from Emoto. I don't know if you know this book by any chance. It's this Japanese scientist that wrote the book about the hidden messages in water.
Yeah,
And
Dr. Emoto, yeah.
exactly. And he was testing how water reacts to whatever, bad sounds, noises, or to prayers, to blessings, and whatnot. And we did this test with 528 hertz, and water literally, first of all, it captures memories, but second of all, it reacts to frequencies and it gets restructured. And when we look at our body, we are like whatever, 75, 80% water. Blood is 91% water. So everything that is frequency that comes towards us, we react. And this is why we react to how people speak to us. This is why cops learn very early the way they approach you. It's like something that intimidates us. It's frightening to us. And we also learn how we can make it better. And this is what I want to do, because we will never eliminate screaming or fighting or verbal abuse. We cannot. This is just human. It's just how we react. But what we can do is we can interact and we can go against the bad frequencies. We can always recalibrate ourselves. When we spend an entire day on this phone, especially our kids, it's not the best frequency. We all notice we don't even have to talk about it. Go on Instagram, you see so much stuff about how bad an iPhone is and all the Wi-Fi radiation and whatnot. But what we can do is we can consciously turn it off at a certain point in the day. We can sit down together with our children or by ourselves or with our loved ones or whatever it is, or with your friends, and we can take a recalibration. We can turn off bad frequencies consciously and go like, hey, listen, I'm going to do something to counterbalance the influences of frequencies that I have been exposed all day long. And if you understand this, that's just a great thing. It's like, and this is this awareness of and mindfulness about what frequencies can do and in a bad way, and how healing frequency can help. I think this is what I would like to share with people is, hey guys, be a little bit more conscious about your own vibe and also learn how to stay away from bad vibes and invite good vibes in your life.
Yeah, that's it. And I think that we sometimes underestimate how impactful when we are tuned, our physical health improves. right? Because we understand that dissonance shows up in the body as illness or, poor immune systems and all the different things that can come through. And so being in that place of really harmony with your cells, your muscles, your physical body, your, all the other bodies, spiritual and so on that we have, that it allows us to really notice that on the physical plane in this three-dimensional world that we're walking in right now. And I think just to think that, you can bring sound into your life with this beautiful tool, with your voice, with all the things that people will choose, and breath, of course, that it is transforming.
Yeah. I mean, and we had, I don't know if you have seen this on our homepage, like a couple of years ago, I created something that's called the act of kindness. And with a spiritual product, sometimes people go like, oh, well, I can do the same thing when I can do the same thing when I go out in nature. Yes, you can do all this, but if you sit in an office building on the 10th floor, it's a pretty tough one to go outside, hug a tree, and do some So, but it's easy to step outside and do a quick tune in the aisle or go to the bathroom, wherever you want to do it. And back then, I created something that's called the act of kindness. And this is one thing where I say it's about spreading the good vibes. So, and we called it the act of kindness. And if people do an act of kindness, we said we accept kindness as currency. So you can get a love tuner by doing a substantial act of kindness. When you go out and you go like, hey, I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna have a great impact to the person I'm doing it to, or to the collective, then we give a love tuner for this act of kindness.
So beautiful.
And this is again this ripple effect, like it's yes, tune, do ever what you do, but do an act of kindness, and we will see it as currency.
How do you imagine the world with many, many, many more tuned beings on it? How do you imagine that? However far in the future you want to place that. What's that world look like or sound like to you?
I mean, first of all, that's harmony. And I think harmonic people will do everything to stay in harmony. And everything what we experience right now in the world will be obsolete, because nobody will give up the harmonic state of mind. And I think this is where we have to travel towards, and each one of us can do a part of it, because all the structures, political structures, wars, whatnot, will fall. Yeah, it will fall out of even existing, because it's very simple. I mean, we know already like where the journey is going. We're talking about the golden age, like the manifestation that is coming down in the 3D world. All this stuff is happening. And I'm not believing in the next great politician. I'm not believing in a political solution. I believe in a spiritual revolution. And this revolution will not be physical. This revolution will go heart by heart. And when people often say, we need to destroy this organization, we need to destroy the banks, whatever people come up with, that's not what it is. What we really need to do is to touch the hearts of the people in this organization, because they're still human. And when you touch somebody's heart, then we connect on a heart level. And this is when structures will fall into place. And this is why I call it a spiritual revolution.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And even speaking of heart frequency, there's so much research. I know the Heart Math Institute has done showing that the heart communicates so much more to the brain than the brain communicates to the heart. And we don't necessarily think that way. And I'm highlighting the word think for that reason. But there's so much more information coming if only we would tune into it, how it would impact our conversations, our communication, our interactions, and all the other things that are going on in the world. And then again, coming back to oneness, coming away from duality. So I'm curious, that non-duality, how that sits with you. I use the word non-duality, but it can be anything that works for you.
Yeah, I mean, as humans, we will always experience this. It's just like, we cannot overcome this in one day, because this is just how we are as an individual. And when people go like to overcome the ego, it's not completely right, because the ego is who we are, it's more the acceptance of the ego and like being of service in whatever matter, And I think you cannot hate your ego, you cannot overcome your ego. You need to accept it, and transform it into the being that you want to be, like on a more enlightened being, a more spiritual being, a more high elevated and higher vibrating being. This is actually the journey we should be. And we should actually embrace our ego. We cannot destroy the ego, because the ego, this is what we are in this body right now on this journey, like otherwise we would be in heaven. It's like we are right here trapped in a body. We have this human experience, and this is why we will deal always with those human issues. But still we can make the best of our ego, and we can make it vibrate as high as possible, that it comes to closer to a divine experience.
Yes, and I think that when we understand, and if we can have the perspective that we are all one, that when I create a ripple effect out there, I am also touched by it.
Yeah.
That we would make different choices in every moment that we have. We would make a better choice, because we know it's not I'm doing this to you or to them. It is this is going out into that field, and we're all feeling it, which is that kind of universal, not even just consciousness in this place, but ripple effect, that the world is the way it is because of us in it. And so that responsibility that we have as individuals is so powerful, the inside out approach to that.
Yeah. And I mean, and it's like, I think it's not the right approach when people sometimes see to retrieve from it, because like, you are running a business, I'm running a business. So we are dealing with business stuff.
Yes.
And the only thing we can do is we can enhance in every area we are dealing with, we can enhance this experience for ourselves and for other people. What we cannot do is go like, hey, I moved to an island because I don't want to deal with this anymore. That's not realistic. And you're also not helping. Maybe it's nice for yourself to check out for a year and go to an island, maybe. But overall, it's not the purpose. Our purpose in the human society is not to check out, Our purpose is to be of service and to do as much as we can, and then collectively to make it better for everyone. And I think everybody can do this. And this is not a matter of money. This is not a matter of possibilities. That's just a matter that you have to deal with yourself, with your heart. This is a hard question. And I think if we can enlighten this spark in humans, I think that's a great thing, and I'm always saying this not from an arrogant point of view, because I run into the same traps, what I'm talking about right now. All the bad stuff happens to me on a daily basis, and I just have this little tool that helps me to overcome it faster. And I think this is what we all should try to do. Nobody gonna be perfect. We're never gonna be perfect, but I think we can do collectively the best. And if we are not so separated, and if we don't live in what you said earlier, in this crazy duality, when we just get more empathy for other people, I think this is where we should all head towards to. And be honest, how good does it feel if you talk to someone and you make somebody happy?
Yeah, of course. Acts of kindness. I love it. I want to talk about the design, because I think it's really beautiful. Very, as you know, it matches the practice, which is simple.
Yeah.
It's very elegant. And, obviously, yes, you've got yours around your neck. You can have it that way. And you've got this beautiful design. What was it like kind of bringing something like this into the market? We're talking business now. And what are some of the challenges that you may have had bringing it to life?
Yeah. So, I mean, the challenge is like I was a fashion designer, product designer. I started as an architect. So giving form and producing stuff, manufacturing it, is what I did for a long time. The challenging part of this was like to get actually an accurate, good quality. So this was the biggest thing for us. How can we maintain this quality? And we had prototypes that completely failed. So it was literally developing this product to a certain degree and also getting it patented. This was important for us because there was not one device before us that combined breathwork with sound healing and was so accessible, because it's not something that you set up at home and it takes you 10 minutes to set it up. It's like you have it around your neck, you have the smaller chain, you can put it on your keychain wherever you want to have it. And this was the most important thing for us, to have it accessible, to make a small device. And now we're doing it for many, many years. And I think we reached a really high standard of quality. And also given the price, it's not that expensive. It's $68. I think it's 72 euros in Europe. And it's very, very affordable. And the next thing, and this is what would be interesting for you, we just launched a new product, or we're launching it right now. We just got the patent verified. We are doing a multi-frequency tuner for therapists that holds all the Solfeggio frequencies.
Oh my gosh, yes. Sign me up.
Absolutely. I was thinking about you right away. You will have one in the mail as soon as it's launched.
Oh, that's incredible. I love that. And thank you. Oh, wow. That's so beautiful. My community will be buzzing when they hear this. That's for sure. That's beautiful.
Because you work with sound bowls and whatnot, and the Solfeggio frequencies, like there's so much what works on our entire chakra system. And it's going to be a tuner that you can wear it around your neck, but not like as a daily use. But when you're in therapy, with your clients, you wear it around your neck. It holds like the Solfeggio frequencies, and for every chakra system, you can use the exact tone.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Most of the Solfeggio frequencies I use is in composition, because majority of the work I do is with the voice. So when I work with people, I'm like you, I want to be able to go anywhere and being able to tune in and really, bring frequency and sound, whether that's bringing harmonics into the voice or, again, bringing other instruments, tuning forks and things like that you can move around with really easily. I love simplicity with work like this. So this is why this is such a beautifully aligned tool for me, because I think just keep it simple. I mean, I love all the intricate things that I experience too, but for me personally, it's like, just want to wake up and sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's awesome. I love this. And I was going to ask you what's next for you, like if there is another product on the horizon. So I'm glad that you shared that. And so with the kind of evolution of your mission, so coming away from the product again, what are some of the ways that people can support? Of course, buying the Love Tuner is one, the acts of kindness, but what are some of the other ways that people can help support this vision and this kind of global mission that you have?
We are also running a foundation. It's called the Love Tuner Foundation, and it's a foundation where we're focusing mainly on kids, underprivileged children, but also even in general bringing spirituality to schools. What I mentioned earlier, this is how we started. Then we work with suicide prevention. We worked with kids trafficking shelters, and we work with veterans, so overcoming like trauma, like deep cellular trauma. And I think if people really want to see this mission grow and help people that are not as lucky as we are always happy about donations to the Love Tuner Foundation. It's lovetunerfoundation.org. And it's a powerful small foundation, but we're doing really a lot of groundwork. We have our team riders going out into shelters, tuning with kids. So it's a lot of beautiful things that we are doing, and we are always grateful for support to our foundation.
That is beautiful. And as you're talking about tuning with kids or tuning with others, is it that everyone needs to place this between their lips and use it, or are you tuning like you did your water? Is there a way that you can go into a space? You said it kind of ripples out to about 8 feet or something like that. Can you just sit in a space and tune as a way to help people come into that frequency?
Yes, I mean, like, when you do, for example, whatever, a guided meditation, you have people around to a certain degree, they feel when you tune.
Yes.
But I always say, like, it's just so much more profound if you do it yourself, because it's similar to when people ask me, is it good to listen to 528 hertz on YouTube before I go to bed or during the day? And I always say, first of all, make sure that it's not interfered the signal, because you don't listen to pure 528 often when you scream it through a tablet or to a computer. But with the tuner, and this is why it's not an app, it's not electronic, it's an analog, it's an instrument. And when you use it, it's so much more than listening to it, because you become the instrument. And this is what it is. So you literally vibrate and you feel it in your body.
Yes. Beautiful. I that's what I understand from it. And I wanted to kind of make that distinction, so that people listening can really experience it themselves, you know, that beautiful deep connection. No, normally before I jump on my podcast, I either do a short sounding with my drum or my shruti box, or just sit in silence as I tune into my guests. And so today was a pleasure to be able to pick this up and think, well, what a way to tune into you and your work. So I sat and I did my 6 sounds, for, I don't know, maybe about 20 seconds, roughly each breath or exhalation. And wow, you know, here you are. So
Beautiful. Thank
beautiful.
you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much. Well, you know, I'm going to share all of your amazing work and this beautiful product with everyone. And I'm really excited for everything that's coming out, and what you and your team and all the people that you're working with are doing. This mission is incredibly needed. We want more heart. We need to be connected. There is nothing like coming from that place of love. And I just want to celebrate you and thank you for the work that you're doing, and you know, following your own mission in this world.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Simone. It was a pleasure being on your podcast.
Thank you. And I love to ask my guests one final question, and that is, what is your soulful sound to the world? And that's a prayer or desire that you wish upon the world.
The soulful sound.
The soulful sound. So that's the podcast name. So it's a prayer or desire. Yeah.
It's beautiful how you say it.
Thank you.
You know, I think what I want to see is that people are more authentic, and that we can, because of this authenticity, we can come back together in wholeness, you know, because this is the most important thing. Authenticity becomes even before love, because if you're not authentic, love cannot land.
Aho. Powerful. Thank you so much for joining, Sigmar, and I'll definitely look out for the updates and so on when they're ready.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
If you loved this episode, hit that like and subscribe button, and make sure to check out our other episodes. Thank you so much for tuning in, sending you love, healing, and sound wherever you are.